The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
We have primary results from two states and Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C., Mitt Romney really blew the other candidates out of the water. 70% of the vote for Mitt Romney, Ron Paul 12%, Newt Gingrich 11%. In Maryland, Romney 49%, Santorum 29%, Gingrich 11%, Paul 10%. And in Wisconsin, which was really the only one that was even remotely close, 42% for Romney, 38% for Santorum, 12% for Paul, and 6% for Newt Gingrich, as you can see there. So the delegate totals now, Lewis, estimates, of course. I know the Ron Paul fanatics get angry saying these are only estimates. Ron Paul in the end could end up with a ton of delegates. Okay, we'll see if that happens. Romney 654, Santorum 270, Gingrich 137, and Ron Paul 71. It's obviously Ron Paul never even got started, Lewis. Newt Gingrich is, at this point, has no chance. Rick Santorum, mathematically, has an overwhelming hill to get over the hump of. I mean, it seems almost impossible at this point.
Thank God.
Really? That's the way you're going? It's a religious thing almost for you.
Not really.
Mitt Romney has about 57% of the required delegates. So the real question is, will Romney get to the 1144 that are needed before the convention? That's the only possibility here, Lewis, that could continue to leave the opportunity open for someone else. Could it be Jeb Bush, like Russ Baker said on the show last week? Maybe this kind of dark horse coming out of, out of the woodwork. I see it really as the only possibility. And I think if there is to be a brokered convention, contested convention, it would be great for Democrats. Again, just the longer this goes on, the better it is for Democrats.
Yeah, no doubt.
Who will be vice presidential picks? Well, if you ask John McCain, he kind of jokingly but somewhat seriously said, choose Sarah Palin, which of course would be an embarrassing disaster, but it would probably make John McCain feel a little bit less ridiculous for having picked her in 2008 if someone else is also dumb enough to do that this year.
I don't think anyone is going to touch that. It's poison. It's fire.
Sarah Palin, when asked who she would pick as the vice presidential candidate, she said, what about maybe Alan West, which would be just as embarrassing and completely ridiculous. I mean, the guy is off the wall.
How about Adam West?
Yeah, Adam West might be a better actor and former Batman portrayer. Adam West might be a better option.
Now we're talking.
Than Alan West. InTrade, which is a website which it's like a stock market for different news probabilities, the possibility of things happening in the news or political world, among other things, says Marco Rubio is actually at the top, that Marco Rubio, senator from Florida, could be the guy. I just don't know. I mean, what's the logic for taking Rubio? I guess it's that he's a young guy. He's apparently untainted in some of the ways that Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney are. He's not a super rich guy. I think he actually had to mortgage his house, or second mortgage his house, in order to afford his campaign, at least initially. And maybe some appeal to the Hispanic vote. I don't really buy that, though. I mean, when we look at the Hispanic vote, the only segment of the Hispanic vote that's remotely conservative are Cubans. And, of course, in Florida, that would be a big, big deal. But in most other parts of the country, the Hispanic vote has been and will continue to be a vote that goes mostly towards the Democratic candidate. And the real question, I think, is whether non-Cuban Hispanics would be interested in voting for someone like Mitt Romney solely because Marco Rubio is the vice presidential pick.
I really doubt it.
I really doubt it. I mean, I'm from Argentina. I can't imagine caring at all that Cuban Marco Rubio would be the VP.
Would any VP sway you at all?
Would any VP at all sway me? Well, I think
in
VPs,
any election. I mean, do you ever consider who the VP is?
I think the only way I would care about a VP would be if it was somebody that turned me off significantly. I don't know that I would really be swayed to vote for someone based on a vice presidential candidate.
Neither would I. I mean, I know I don't vote, but
right.
I can't imagine ever being
let's put it this way,
positively influenced to vote for someone because of the VP pick.
Could a vice presidential candidate get you to vote?
No.
Could a presidential candidate get you to vote, potentially?
Like if it were me?
Well, I don't know.
If it were Gautam?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Natan, what about you? What about this idea of the VP pick? I mean, I can't imagine non-Cuban Hispanic groups will care at all about Marco Rubio being the VP.
No, this reminds me of, during the '08 election when people were saying that black people were only voting for Obama because he's black.
Right.
Well, maybe, but it also just happens to be the case that most black people also always vote for the Democrat.
Right.
In this case, I don't think that would happen.
I agree. I just don't think it's a factor.
If McCain had picked, if McCain were running against someone who was white and McCain picked a black VP, would black people vote for McCain just because he picked a black VP?
Well, that's the Allen West factor, right?
Right.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I don't think so.
Last night, I was on Current TV on the Young Turks with Cenk Uygur. And if you missed the appearance, it's up on our press news page. If you go to davidpakman.com, there's also tweets about it at twitter.com/David Pakman Show. It's on our Facebook page. You can check it out.